Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jasmine and I am a second year biomedical engineering student at university. In today's video we are going to be talking about how to study effectively and some essentials for studying if you are an engineering student. These tips will probably translate across to any sort of STEM subject, however I am studying engineering so that is my expertise per se. If you're looking for more university study related videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and let's just get on with the video. Now first off, I'm just going to list off some basics that you need for studying, like pens, pencils, but I'm going to do that with some clips and a voiceover, so I'm just going to roll those clips now and I'll see you guys back here for some specific engineering tips. First things first is a black pen and Tipp-Ex, obviously. I personally prefer a pencil and a rubber because I make mistakes, but the choice is yours. A ruler and protractor are always useful as well. You need a good calculator, preferably the one you're going to use in your exam so you can practice using it. Last but not least, some water because you've got to stay hydrated. Now, for any STEM subject you need to engage in active revision / study, because there's no point in sitting and just looking over your notes and like flashcards all the time, because that is not how engineering works. You need to learn the techniques, so you need to do questions to actually learn how to answer any question. First thing I personally use is past papers, so old test papers, old exam papers, old homeworks, old tutorials. I just do these questions and I redo them nearer to the time of the test / exam. This is how I do my active learning. Don't redo the tutorial / homework if you've just done it in class, because if you just do the same question over and over and over again, you're not learning, you're learning the question, not the technique. Also, with these past paper questions and textbook questions and stuff, you need to mark them, because there's no point in doing them and then you don't know whether you've done it right or not. And when you mark them, you can see where you've gone wrong, you can ask for help, you can come back in a few days and redo it again and see if you've improved. However, I would like to say that there is no point in studying questions unless you have learned the actual content, unless you have learned the formula. When I learn a new one, I write it on a sticky note and I stick it above my desk so that every time I do a homework it is there, and by the time it comes to the exam I can just visualize the sticky note in my head. I don't know if this is going to work for you. Some of you might use flashcards, some of you might just write it on a summary sheet, but you need to learn the basic formulae and basic definitions before you start active learning, because there's no point, because it's not going to give you anything valuable. Now moving on to modules, that like basic modules that you are going to study as an engineering student in your first year specifically. I'm not sure about second years so far, but I'm sure these base modules will be included in every engineering course. For my maths modules, I recommend just doing millions and millions and millions of questions. There is no better way to learn maths than doing questions. Maths is a very good example of where you need to do active learning. You can't just sit and look at questions because you're not actually doing it. Again, with the formula thing I mentioned earlier, every time I got a new one, I would write it on a sticky note, stick it above my desk, and it would just be there for when I'm sitting, even if I'm not doing math. Sometimes, you know, you get bored, you stare off into space, but you're looking at your sticky notes and the formula goes into your brain. It does, I promise you, it goes into your brain. With trig and functions, there are a lot of basic graphs that you're going to need to learn the roots, stationary points and basic shapes of before you start doing questions, because it's going to make it a whole lot easier when you come across a question that has a transformed version of that graph in it. For me personally, it becomes a whole lot easier if I can visualize the graph in my head. A recurring theme here seems to be sticky notes, but again, for basic graph shapes I wrote them on sticky notes, stuck them around my room. You could do it in this way, you could also make flashcards, any way that works for you. With your mechanics module, whether it be stationary or dynamic or whatever sort of mechanics, you're going to study a mechanics module because that is the basis of engineering. With this, before you start studying like questions and stuff, again I recommend that you learn the formulae. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. I was not a physics person. I am now. I wasn't. I crashed physics in high school, so I had to learn my own methods. I didn't have a teacher to teach me over the summer that I crashed it. I had to learn my own methods and catch up with the kids in my class. So this is my foolproof method to answering a physics question. Identify what the question is asking you. Identify all the knowns that you have, all the unknowns that you're trying to find. Think about all the formulae that are included in this subject, all the formulae that you could use to find the answer. If it is a forces question, please draw a free body diagram. It makes it so much easier, even if you don't end up using it for any calculations. It's just nice to have there because you can visualize the situation in your head. Find your paired forces, set the sum of forces equal to 0 in each direction if you need it for the question. But I promise you, if you have a free body diagram, you'll be surprised how easily the question falls apart for you to answer. Another module that you're definitely going to have to take as an engineering student is a thermodynamics module. Whether it's called thermodynamics or has some other name, there will be some thermodynamics stuck in there somewhere. Thermodynamics is the study of gases and the way they behave with different pressures and volumes and temperatures and stuff like that. So if you're stuck with a thermodynamics question, always link yourself back to the laws. If it's a working energy problem, you're going to need the first law of thermodynamics. A note about the first law: always be careful with your signs because it depends on whether work is being done on the system or the system does work. Another tip I have is to learn the basic shapes of pressure volume graphs for specific processes. So you might have an adiabatic process or an isobaric process. They all have different shapes on a PV graph, so if you learn these specific shapes, again, it's going to be so much easier if you come across a question with them. The equation PV equals nRT is your friend. Everything in thermodynamics links back to this equation. Obviously, be sure if you need to use your adiabatic constant or anything, check that first, but everything in thermodynamics basically links back to this equation along with the laws. So guys, I actually forgot to film an outro, so yeah, if you guys enjoyed, just give this video a thumbs up and leave some tips down below if you have any. I will see you guys next time. Bye!